The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Hello. It gave me my countdown wrong there. Said I still had 14 seconds before I was live. I must have been looking at it wrong. There's no way that I did that. Good morning. Happy Sober Sunday to you. I had to go back and get a different computer. The other one was freezing on me. They were pretty cool about it, considering I hadn't been gone but a couple hours. This was working much better. It was just a fluke. Just that's what happens sometimes. That's what happens. So hopefully today it'll be a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. It's Sunday. I usually don't turn on my brain on Sundays. Football is about all the thinking that I do. Well, that's where I do the thinking. I don't know. See? Yeah. What could we talk about? What would be a good pregame? Pregame. How about this? You are worth any amount of time that anybody else or you are willing to put into you. You're worth it. Now, we're not here to determine our worth. We're gonna let our higher power do that. And why do we do that? Because Dion's not very good at it. That's why. I'm not very good at determining my own worth. Right? I go to these extremes a lot. Not always. I'm good. It's all about progress, right? Everything that we do here is progress. So, you know, but yeah. So we have, and it's going to be kind of tough because you're not going to feel like you are worth it after all the crazy and silly stunts that you pulled in this life. You may not feel like you're worth it, but it's not true. There's a plan. I believe that. I believe that there's a plan. And so, yeah. All right. There we are. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I am your host. Tomorrow, we are going to be back in studio with Take 12 Recovery. What is the topic tomorrow? Let's go look real quick. I've already forgotten that, and I've got so much here. What is a normie? Oh, that's going to be interesting. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. And of course, you can check out everything that I do at trudgingtogether.org. All right, most everything that I do, including the 4A's workbook. You can sign up for classes. Very soon here, you'll also be able to, at the moment, you can book appointments with me, 15-minute free consultation. I charge $60 an hour for that. Most of what I do is free. I'm just trying to get the word out there. Don't feel pressured to do it just because you like me or something. There's no need to do that. I'm here to help, and that's what I'm looking for. But if you know somebody that could use somebody like me that needs a little plain talk in their life, I'm happy to sit down with them, see if we're a good fit. If we are, then I've got a system that I use to kind of help people out, right? So I'm going to close the door here because clearly the grandchildren can't figure out that they need to be quiet. What they don't understand is I'm louder than them. And it got quiet. Oh, all right. Jokes to sure to get a laugh from. Scary mommy, you know what time it is. It is joke time. I'm even wearing a joke right now. All right. It says, I keep all my dad jokes in a database. All right. Given to me by my niece. I don't usually wear shirts with a lot of stuff on them, but when people give me stuff, I like to wear it, right? So what do you? Okay, now they put an ad in front of me, so I can't read it. What do you call two monkeys sharing an Amazon account? Primates. Morning, Amber. I love it. Hey, bitches, Dion is effing live. Good morning. Guten Morgen to you. What do birds give out on Halloween? Tweets. Would you twick or tweet? Right, twick or tweet. Why are teddy bears never hungry? Because they're not alive, number one. They are always stuffed. I think we're going to have to do one more. We're going to have to do another one. What event do spiders love to attend? Webbings. I like to go to webbings. All right. So far, new computer's kicking butt here. Man, it's moving a lot faster. I mean, like, I went live and not 20, it didn't take but like 5 seconds for it to be on YouTube. So now I got extra time to screw around until we go live. And you can tell earlier that didn't quite work out for me today. We are doing today's daily reflection. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight into 12 by 12. You know, it talks about AA's main taproot, but what we're going to be mostly focusing on is the gift of desperation. Let's see what Chat GPT lined up for us on that. Right. So, nobody walks into recovery thinking, yes, I can handle my own life. If we could have won this thing on self-will, we'd all be home with medals by now. If that's the way it worked, we'd all would have graduated, gotten our certificates, moved on our merry way, and now we are normal drinkers again. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic in my book. You do not need to think that way. And no, alcoholism doesn't need to define you. Usually when I bring that up, people are like, alcoholism doesn't define me. No, but it is something that you have that you need to recognize and work on. Is that fair? Okay. I think that's fair. No, I am not an alcoholic. I am Dion. And Dion has alcoholism. That's as far as it needs to go. I also do other things. I'm also a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a husband. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. I'm a counselor. I'm a person that helps. I'm a lot of things. All right. I would say I'm really good at video games, but as I get older, my hand-eye coordination just isn't as quick. Right? Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. Yeah, I didn't want to admit it. It was embarrassing. It was like I loathed it. Right? And why? Because I didn't like me very much. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. Right? It goes on to say, no other kind of bankruptcy is like this one. Right? This is the way that I describe it. Alcoholism, actually alcohol, will take away everything good. Anything that's good, anything that is worthwhile, relationships mostly. If it wasn't for alcoholism, I'd probably have a shit ton of friends. I don't know that I'd really want that, right? Who knows? Who knows? Because my other mental illnesses are stemmed from my alcoholism. I have them because of my alcoholism. Right? My depression, my CPTSD, my anxiety, it all comes from alcohol. Yeah, it stems from there, right? That, so alcohol now becomes a rapiest creditor, bleeds us about self-sufficiency and its will to resist its demands. Once this stark fact is accepted, our bankruptcy as going human concerns is complete. I'm glad that they didn't really go too much more into it, except saying that we're going to get to a point, and this is always what it comes down to. The person that is drinking is no longer willing to accept the consequences of their drinking. That's usually what it is. But there's always an outside force that needs to help us get there. Now, do these people get us sober? Mm, they help us make the decision to at least give it a try. Who are these people? They're your husbands, your wife, the people, your mommy, your daddy, your uncles, the people that give a fuck about you, the people that are tired of sitting up every night waiting that for that phone to ring at 3 o'clock in the morning that you're dead in a ditch. That's how they live their lives. And it's not very fair that we consume their time like that. The best gift I ever gave my family was sobriety. It was the best gift. But upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation. They are not wrong. It is humiliating to walk into a room of strangers that you do not know, raise your hand and say, "My name is Dion. I'm an alcoholic. I fucked my life up. I need help. I don't know what I'm doing." Now, to us, this is great. This is good news because we understand where they're at. But when you're in it, you can't see it. So thank God for the members of Alcoholics Anonymous who will support you. They would. I watched, last night, my daughter was going through something, right? And the group surrounded her. It was so cool to watch. No, we got your back. We got your back. And no, you shouldn't. Yeah, I'm not going to go over what happened. It's not my story to tell. Right? You know how it is. People get into your business when you get sober, right? And that's what we do. We bring hope. We are hope dealers. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. This is the first, oh my God, I was going to say oxymoron, but that's not what it is. I turned my brain off on Sunday. It is the first, I don't remember. I don't remember. But the fact that we were wrong, we had the cart before the horse, that, this is the gift of desperation. That's not what I was going to say. Um, the first paradox. There it is. This is the first paradox of AA, that you will find no enduring strength until you give up. It takes more strength to admit that I am wrong than it did to go on the way that I was. It took more strength to sit down and admit what I have been doing my entire life. It took more strength to sit down and do that fourth and fifth step than it did to run and gun like I did. It took more strength. I needed it. But the only way that was going to happen for me, maybe other people have other experiences, is by saying, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Every part of my life is fucked up. So then it turns out that we take our first towards liberation and strength, and our admission of personal powerlessness finally turns out to be the firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. Your foundation. There's nothing, and I'm going to tell you now, I don't care how long you've been in the program, there's nothing wrong with going back to basics. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with relying on your foundation. I have the last 2, 3 days. It did it. 1602. All right. Gotta write this down. 1602. 1602. 1602. If you see it lag again, please let me know. All right. Guys, I think I'm going to switch to a different IO. Now, you're probably wondering, because people tend to follow along with what's going on with my life, because the Daily Trudge isn't just, helping people out. You also hear about my daily life and things going on and where I'm at. It's a reality show. Welcome to my life. The Daily Trudge is partly a reality show, right? And you know that I've been going through things, and I decided that I was going to be a little bit rougher for just a few days. Well, I got up this morning, I don't need to anymore. So it was a day and a half that I needed to do it. So it was much shorter time. I woke up in a good mood because I made the decision that Dion needs to come first in every situation now. Now, that doesn't mean I get to be selfish. It just means I now have a different understanding of where the people close to me in my life stand. Okay? And I need that. And I need to be firm in that decision. Doesn't mean I'm cutting anybody off. It doesn't mean I'm doing any of that. Well, physically. But emotionally, no more. No. I come first. My serenity, my happiness is going to come first. But my serenity and my happiness comes by helping other people. So, you see how that works. All right. So now I have a firm bedrock just because I said, I don't know, I need help. And what is this? It's because we came in humiliated, right? But then we utilize humility, which is something different. Humility just means in the beginning, humility means this: I need help. That's what humility is in the beginning. It doesn't need to be more than that. So see, you had humility. You just didn't know it yet. Okay? AA is like the Karate Kid. You have skills, and we're going to teach you these skills. We're going to train you in these skills, but you're not going to use these skills till life gets rough, till life gets lifey. That's when those skills will come into play. Just life being life doesn't really bring up these skills. Okay, it isn't until things get a little bit harder that you'll be able to utilize those skills. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he has first accepted his devastating weakness and all of its consequences. Gosh, this is a hard one. Especially when you figure out, wait a minute, I was born this way. It's not my fault. Oh, I've had racking dilemmas with that one with people. Okay. Now, you don't have Tourette's. You're not getting off the hook. Okay. You don't have the alcoholism is not a disease where you are let off the hook for the consequences that you created. Nope. We're gonna take a different, do it differently. We're going to confront it instead. We're gonna turn around and say, nope, no more. I love my family too much. I don't want to put them through this anymore. Remember, you can get sober for any reason that you want. Any reason. I don't care what the reason is. I mean, I do kind of care because I'm going to use it against you to keep you sober. And I'm going to. I ruined drinking careers. I didn't say I was nice about it. I am kind, but I ain't going to be nice about it. If there's something that needs to be said, I will say it to you. But That doesn't mean I'm going to get up in your face and be a dick about it. Okay. I can be if you want me to, but no, I wouldn't. I don't even know then because I'm trying to help, not be a hindrance. And I can't tell people what to do. I don't like it when people tell me what to do. What makes you think I get to run around and tell people what to do? What you I get to tell somebody what to do because I'm their sponsor? No, no. All right. But my sponsees do come to me often with problems and we work through them together. Sure, do that all the time. But the answer usually comes out of their mouth. Oh, you know what? I think you hit something there. See, I already kind of knew. And I'll throw things in there so that like like when you're guessing a movie, I'll throw them hints. Hey, if we look at it this way, what are we going to come up with instead? Well, what if we go to this angle and we look at it a little bit different? Oh, now we're getting somewhere. See, we got to look at this from all angles, right? Yeah. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he is first accepted as I read that until he so humbles himself, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. And it is tough, right? Until he so humbles himself, right? There's that humility I was talking about. Okay. I don't know anymore. Is a is perfectly legitimate. Perfectly legitimate. Yeah. Of real happiness, he will find none at all. Real happiness. You will have moments of clarity and happiness. You will. It can't be helped. You're trying to become a better person. When your intentions change, it can't be helped. Right? So you are, but of true happiness, or not true, of real happiness, right? Because happiness comes from a job well done. I'm happy that the kids are over. Okay. But happiness comes from a job well done. Okay. So what does that mean? Go take out the trash. Okay. And don't just take out the trash. Okay. There's a couple more steps to this, right? Do the dishes, clean the counters, do the cupboards. You got time now, alcoholic. Okay. And when you're done taking out the trash, put another bag in it. This is what non-alcoholics do. Did you know that non-alcoholics tell other people where they're going, what they're doing, and when they'll be back? Did you know that's just a normal thing to do in our society? God, we alcoholics get away with a lot. Okay. Then there's one more thing to it. When you're done taking out the trash, don't go to your significant other. Don't go to your mom. Don't go to anybody and say, hey, look at what I did. I took out the trash. Because of real happiness, you won't get any now. You're not going to get any because you already took your reward by having somebody else say, oh, great job. Oh my God, you are just the master at taking out the trash. Okay, they're going to say that sarcastically, by the way. Oh, great job. Um, why we don't need awards for being better people. We don't need the clout. Even this morning, I saw somebody and I quit. I'm like, I'm done following them. They're like, somebody came in before and told us their story. They used their story to promote their place. And I love that they're helping. I love that there's a place to go, that this young lady is sober, is doing good. But for you to use it for your own means, it feels icky to me. Now, maybe to other people on them, it doesn't. Now, but to me, okay. So what did he, in that case, even if he did help this young lady, but all this person did was walk in and buy a t-shirt. So they didn't do anything. Why are we bragging about this? Because we alcoholics have this need for attention from other people to make us feel better. And it is an emotional sobriety that needs to be cut off at depth. Right? I too go through it. Okay. I hardly ever hear from my family, we're proud of you. They hardly even know me. Okay. They made this very clear in the last week. They don't know me as well as I thought. That's okay. I've been around. I've been around them. All right. Okay. But none of that, but that doesn't matter. I don't need them to be. Is there a part of me that wants my mommy to be proud of me or daddy? I'm sorry, I'm just using names. Of course, we want them to be proud of us. But if you are expecting it, if you think it's going to happen, now work on that self-esteem. That'll work out much better for you. All right. Proved beyond a doubt by immense experience. This is one of the facts of AA life. The principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our whole society has sprung and flowered. We all do it. It is a process, and the process starts there. Always. Always. This is a 100% thing. Okay? All right. When first challenged to admit defeat, most of us revolted. We had approached AA expecting to be taught self-confidence. Okay. What are they saying there? A lot of people come into AA thinking we're going to teach them how to drink like a gentleman or like a nice young lady. Okay. No, we don't know how to do that. So we can't teach it to you. I don't know how to drink like a gentleman. That is beyond me. It is one of my limitations, right? Then we have been told that as far as alcohol is concerned, self-confidence was no good, whatever. In fact, it was a total liability. Our sponsors declared that we were victims of a mental obsession so subtly powerful that no amount of human willpower could break it. They said, no such thing as personal conquest of this compulsion by the unaided will. Relentlessly deepening our dilemma, our sponsors pointed out the increasing sensitivity to alcohol, an allergy, they called it. Tyrant alcohol wielded a double edged sword over us. First, we were smitten by an insane urge that condemned us to go on drinking, then by an allergy of the body that ensured we would ultimately destroy ourselves in the process. Few indeed were those who, so assailed, ever won through single handed combat. It was a statistical fact that alcoholics almost never recovered on their own resource, and this had been true apparently ever since man had first crushed grapes. Now, they didn't say sobriety, they said recovery. This is where it's important that we understand the difference between sobriety and recovery. Sobriety is the absence of alcohol. That is the definition of it, of alcohol. That's what that means. Right? Sober alcohol, clean drugs. All right. So you might be able to get sober on yourself, but your life's gonna suck. Because number one, you're gonna be angry because you can't get what you want, then you can't get what you want, and it's gonna start to double. And sooner or later, you're gonna go back out. You might be able to go for a while, all right? But as far as recovery goes, we do not do it alone. You can't do it alone. You need to be taught. Somebody needs to teach you how to do it. I had to be taught. The things that other people were born with, like tact, I don't have. I was not given that. Right? What I was given was the ability to lie and manipulate. That's what I was given. And we're good at it. But the hard part is we think we're like everybody else. We tend to think we're doing the right thing. And then we start to grow up a little bit, see that people do things differently. We're like, then they are wrong and I am right because I want what I want. Right? In AA's pioneering time, none but the most desperate cases could swallow and digest this impalpable truth. Even these last gaspers often had difficulty in realizing how hopeless they actually were. But a few did, and when these laid hold of the AA principles with all the fervor with which the drowning sees life preservers, they almost invariably got well. This is why the first edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, published when our membership was small, dealt with low bottom cases only. It says low bottom, not rock bottom. I'm just all right. You can't watch the fucking Chief and Raiders game. Good. That means the Raiders are winning. Woohoo! Go. Not very often. Oh, you can't watch it because it's 11 o'clock, so there's no way that anybody's winning yet. So you're saying you physically can't watch it. Now that sucks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just yeah. See how quick I jumped on that? Many less desperate alcoholics tried AA but did not succeed because they could not make the admission of hopelessness. Right? Now, here's the thing, you get to decide your level of hopelessness. There is, and this is my opinion, and it is my opinion, was that 3153. Hold on. 3153. Okay. To me, there is no rock bottom. There is one trap door after another till you are dead. So, what I say is pick your bottom because there's nothing wrong with it. If it felt like rock bottom to you, great, good, let's do it. I'm not gonna, okay, because it does to you, it's gonna feel like the lowest of the lows. But I can tell you right now, it just did. Oh my God, big old one. Big. That was a big one. That was like a 3.9 on the Richter scale. All right. I'm going to start wrapping this up. Just did it again. All right. I just spent $1,000 so this didn't happen anymore. If they come back and say, "Oh, it's your stuff," no, man, I'm going to go righteous on the asses. All right. I want to get to this next part because it's cool. All right. So pick your bottom. If it feels like rock bottom, great. Let's get sober. Let's do it. All right. It is a tremendous satisfaction to record that in the following years, this changed. Alcoholics who still had their health, their families, their jobs, and even 2 cars in the garage began to recognize their alcoholism. As this trend grew, they were joined by young people who were scarcely more than potential alcoholics. They were spared that last 10, 15 years of literal hell the rest of us had gone through. Since step one requires an admission that our lives have become unmanageable, how could such people take these steps? So, I want you to listen what happened. And this is one of the reasons why I don't believe in rock bottom. Listen, it was obviously necessary to raise the bottom the rest of us had hit to the point where it would hit them. Yeah. And that became the basis of our 12th step work, which is we meet others where they are at. This means physically, emotionally, mentally, and for darn sure spiritually. It takes those 4 things in order for that to happen. Right? I was, when I was your age, I was drinking. Now, when it comes to younger people and working with them, there are a few things that are off. I'm going to recommend that you do not say things like, "I wish I gotten sober when you did." Don't say that crap. You do not need to put your guilt on the young people because you screwed up your fucking life. And I've been on both ends of this. I got sober when I was 18 and I heard the gamut. It used to piss me off. And after a while, I was in the Phoenix concert and I spilled more on the counter than you heard. And finally, one day in an AA meeting, I had enough and I went off on all of them. I'm like, you guys need to stop talking to me like this. I'm an alcoholic and I'm trying to get my life together. Back off, or I will pound you. Which means, and hey, they're a bunch of old Skid Row drunks. It wouldn't take me much as an 18-year-old. Okay, they're not in shape, so don't do that. Don't do that. All right. So what do? We raise the bottom. Huh? You could do that. As a recovered alcoholic, you get to do that. It's why I snag these younger people. All right. As far as sponsoring goes. By going back in our own drinking histories, we could show that years before we realized we were out of control, that our drinking was even then was no mere habit, that indeed it was the beginning of a fatal progression. Yeah, and it started at 13 for me. Yeah. All right. Perhaps you're not, to the doubters, we could say, perhaps you're not an alcoholic. I'm not going to even read that part because I don't do the controlled drinking thing. I'm not going to tell somebody else. I'm not going to tell somebody, well, you might want to try some controlled drinking. I understand why they're saying that, but I am not going to be the arbiter of somebody's death. Oh, I went and told them to go try some more controlled drinking. Then they hopped on the highway and they killed someone. I'm gonna, yeah, no, I won't do that. So, all right, up to you. Up to you. Again, just kind of how I do things. Okay. I love the big book, or the 12 by 12 and the big book. That doesn't mean I agree with everything, but what I am is willing to listen and be open minded about it. Right. I used to harp bad on rock bottom. Now I'm like, yeah, if that's what you want to think, that's cool. I don't think that way, but anyway, how are you? See, it's just, all right, so we can change, become better. All right, so let's get to today's reading. The principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our whole society has sprung and flowered. 12 Steps, 12 Traditions, page 21 to 22. Defeated and knowing it, I arrived at the doors of AA alone and afraid of the unknown. A power outside myself had picked me up off my bed, guided me to the phone book, then to the bus stop, and through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. God, this sounds familiar. I've had this kind of situation happen to me. Before March 16th, 1989, I was walking down the streets. I was 18 years old. I had nothing left. My friends just got done saying, Dion, we are no longer going to allow you to sleep on our couches. You need to actually on our parents' couches. Okay. I was 18. My friends were still living with their parents. One guy was letting me sleep in the closet so his mom didn't know I was there. Okay. And, on colder nights, a good portion of my homelessness would have been white suburbia, just so you know. And, back in the 80s, white suburbia was like, I would sleep in laundry rooms. Yep. Because they were usually open. Nobody bothered me. And I would go through different laundry rooms. And then there's always change underneath the washers and dryers. So I would just tip them forward, get the change, and made a little bit of money that way. But March 16th, I was walking down the street. I was headed towards, in fact, I could see the Jesus Save sign. And there was this guy in front of me. And we're walking up this building. Finally, he turns around. He's like, Dion. He's like, hey, dude, are you okay? I'm not. I told him, no, I'm not. I was in step 13 a month ago. I drink too much. My friends don't want me around. And now I'm down here again. And he's like, come with me. And we walked right into this building. Right. And it was weird because it was dark. And he opened the door and suddenly it was just a bunch of light coming out. And it turned out that this was a halfway house for homeless alcoholics, the Phoenix concept. And that's where I would get sober. If that is not God working in my life, I don't know what is. And it wasn't until Ray Hayworth sat me down, this 60-year-old man, crusty old man who lived on the streets for 20 years, who had been sober for 20 years, who sat me down and gave me the fucking business. And he was right. That man saved my life because he confronted me. Okay. I was that horse that refused to drink. He's like, I'm leading you to the water, Dion, but you're not drinking. And he shoved my fucking head in there and made me wish I would have taken a drink. And he was right. And he did it with love. I know it sounds rough, but he did it because he loved me as a child of God. And thank you, Ray, for doing that. Because otherwise, I don't think I would have seen it. Not at that age. All right. Once inside AA, I experienced a sense of being loved and accepted, something I had not felt since early childhood. I never felt loved and accepted until I got to AA. It's the only place that I've ever felt that way. But I just, yeah. May I never lose a sense of wonder I experienced on that first evening with AA, the greatest event of my entire life. Now, don't get me wrong, there were people in my life that were trying to love me and do those things, but I wouldn't allow them to do it because I didn't want them to get too close. Because if they knew Dion too well, then they'd be able to do something about it, and that wasn't going to happen. So it's not like it was on everybody else. It was me doing it. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day.